Good morning, boys. We got a question from Lucas this morning, and he's asking for 10 out of 10 books. Hello. First of all, thank you for encouraging me to start reading. Genuinely one of the best habits I've picked up. I've bought almost every book you recommended, but I'm sure I've missed a few. Hamza, what are the 10 out of 10 books you'd recommend to your younger self? So, I've already made a video that you can all go find. If you're watching this on YouTube, just search Hamza books and it'll come up, where I've basically went through like every book that helped me. And if you've watched me for a while, you'll probably know most of the books that I've recommended. But I'm going to update the list right now very quickly because I've been asked this question a bunch of times. So there's a few more books that we can talk about. We have Stolen Focus by Joanne Harry. This is a 10 out of 10 book, probably the best book I've read in the last few years. Have a look at this one. Then we have The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. This is about, it's kind of like spirituality, but it's more about fixing your mind. Like our mind is the reason why we suffer so much. When you really think about it, what is the biggest cause of suffering in life? It is not anything real world. It's just how your mind interprets it. In fact, actually, improving your mind will have a bigger impact on your life than even improving your physical health. Like, just think about that for a second. There's not many more things more important in life than your physical health apart from your mind. Getting to know your inner voice, the voice that's always in your head, that's the cause of the most amount of suffering in your life. Like, I'm talking, that is the cause of 80%, 90%, 100% of the suffering in your life. We think we suffer because of the real world events, when actually we suffer because of the way that our mind processes it. So this book, it had this wonderful chapter where it said, imagine the inner voice being kind of like this annoying roommate, that instead of this voice being inside of your head, it's like actually like a real fucking dorky little annoying person sat next to you. And he doesn't leave you alone. When you're driving, he's just fucking yapping. When you're taking a shit, he's yapping. When you're even having sex, he's just yapping like 24/7 next to you. Oh, yeah, do you remember what they said about you in high school? And also, what are you going to do tomorrow? I think today we should do this. And that girl's looking at you, that guy's looking at you weird. You gotta start doing martial arts, because Andrew Tate's a kickboxer. Hamza did a kickboxing fight. He just keeps fucking talking. And life is only pleasant when he silences. How do you silence the inner voice? Well, first take it out. Stop thinking that the voice is you. Start to imagine it's like a different person. And now imagine this. Imagine I said to you, I'm going to curse you. I'm going to put a curse on you. You have to have this person next to you for the rest of your life. You just have to. Imagine you have this annoying roommate, this annoying fucking best friend, this like Siamese twin. He's attached to you. He's literally next to you for the rest of your life. You cannot get away from him. Now, how should you respond to him? Knowing that he's just going to talk bullshit, should you debate him? No, because he talks bullshit. Should you argue with him? No. Should you run away from him? No, because you can't. So of all the responses you could have to the inner voice inside of you, we all choose the wrong ones because we're stuck with this voice. The only correct response to the voice inside of our head is humor. Laugh at how absurd some of these thoughts are. All of these thoughts are. Laugh at how absurd they are. Because it is not you who is thinking. We think it is, but it's not. It's not you who is thinking. You are the person who is hearing the thinking. You are not at the front, like you are not in your forehead. You are actually at the back of your head, listening and seeing the inner mind. You are listening to it. It's not you who's thinking. You are listening to the voice. You are the consciousness that's listening to it. Once you can step into this, you'll realize that you can laugh at whatever the fuck this little retard says to you. So this book teaches you how to do that along with some other things, which is very interesting. I first read this book a few years ago, and I just didn't fucking get it. I just didn't know what he was talking about. But I'm reading it right now, and it's making me smile so much, thinking like, oh shit, now I'm starting to understand what he's talking about. So this is like close to a 10 out of 10 book. And this one as well, Stolen Focus, this is fucking awesome as well. This is kind of like deep work about like, okay, all of our attention spans are all fried. And it's like written in like a lovely story format where he gets away from his phone and from technology for like months, and he talks about like how long the day feels, and he feels so incredibly bored, but then after a while he's at such peace. And then he's honest that once he stops this experiment, like, you know, he moved away and didn't use like technology for a while. When he comes back, before he knows it, he's just back to being addicted again. Like, these things we have around us, these screens, these devices, social media, they have stolen our focus. And this is why most people can't even read. Most people can't even have like a loving conversation with someone without their mind just fluttering away. So this book was probably one of the best books I've read on that topic, on being more focused, on fixing your attention span. And it's written in such a enjoyable way. I read this entire book in like, I think just over a day. Like, I read it in like 2 days. It was fucking so nice to read. Also, boys, share some hidden gems you've discovered along your journey. My recommendation so far from Hamza, Psycho-Cybernetics. So this is a great book on kind of like psychology, fixing your perception of yourself. Like, if you see yourself as a bit of a fucking loser, this book can really help you. The Millionaire Fastlane. This is a book on realizing that the way to become rich is basically through business, and you are not going to become rich through the advice of your parents, which is go to school, get a degree, get a good job, save money, invest in the S&P 500 stocks or whatever bullshit, invest in a house, and then maybe you'll be rich when you're 70 years old. So this book is, it's not really outdated, but now most people actually know this. Like, I read this book about 5-6 years ago, before the concept of like online businesses was as popular as it is now. So it was still new to me, because everyone back then used to think the way you make money is by going to school, get a degree, get a job, save up money, invest into a house, invest into some stocks, whatever. Nowadays, the truth is all of us actually know the truth now, right? All of us know, okay, the way to get rich in the 20s is through a business. All of us actually know this. So this book's maybe a little bit redundant, but it was the book that actually convinced me that business is the way to go instead of like some shitty career. The Way of the Superior Man, that's a good book as well. It's kind of like a mix of that book I just showed you before, the Untethered Soul, and Masculinity mixed into one. It's like a spiritual guide on masculinity. Books I stumbled upon, let's see. A Billion Wicked Thoughts, a fascinating dive into male and female desires. That looks cool. A Billion Wicked Thoughts. Oh, this is like what turns women on, what turns men on. That's kind of interesting. I think I'll go read this one next. Then we got Robert L. Moore. I think this is the guy who did the King Warrior. King Warrior Magician Lover. I haven't really read this. I think, Hamza, you'd really connect with the magician archetype. You remind me of the elder shaman guiding his tribe. It's a rare book. I managed to find a copy on Abe Books. To be honest, I tried to read this one, The King, Warrior, Magician. I tried to read it, but I didn't really like it, though. By the way, I've been following you for around 3 years now. I've learned a lot from your YouTube videos and recently joined Library of Adonis. It's perfect. With this, I feel like pushing my self-improvement to the next level. Plus, hashtag Hamza comeback. Life is great. Fuck yeah. Thank you for being here, Lucas. Let's see some more of these book recommendations. Dopamine Nation by Dr. Anna Lembeck. This one was pretty good. It was interesting. In my opinion, it was a bit of a letdown in terms of actually like utilizing it, but it was kind of interesting though. This one was more interesting though. The Molecule of More. This is about dopamine, but it's way more practical and it's more specific. Like, he talks about if you're more dopamine focused, how that comes out in love, in your addiction to stimulation and stuff. But the first chapter on love is so interesting. Like, if you're a bit more of a dopamine novelty seeking type of guy like I am, like if you're the type of guy who wants to like be with loads of women, this is the book that will explain why, and it's so interesting. So this is the book I'd recommend above Dopamine Nation. Diary of a CEO. This one was kind of weak in my opinion. It was enjoyable to read. It's his 33 strategies. It was enjoyable to read, but it was a little bit weak in the advice. This felt to me like it was more about making a book that he can say that he's like a bestseller rather than actually making it like really, really genuinely valuable. So I judge a book not on the words inside, but what happens to my life after I read it. And for me, I read this book and it's enjoyable to read. But then business didn't really improve after that. So I thought it was like a pretty weak book, even though it's nice to read though. It's nice. But it's no offense to them, but I just think influencers don't really write good books, in my opinion. Influencers, like content creators, they write books not in the same honor that like real authors write books. Like real authors write books to distill 10, 20 years of knowledge. Influencers seem to write books on, oh yeah, let's get to the bestsellers list. Let's sell 25,000 copies on the first day. It's kind of like a different goal, you know what I mean? So that's how it felt to me anyway. But like, it's like a pretty popular book. Maybe you'd find some value in it. Hard Times, Create Strong Men. This is a fucking sick book. Really good book. This is like a book on masculinity, a book on, let's have a look. I hope I'm not leaking my fucking address here. I might know. Yeah, this is a book on like masculinity, on becoming a strong man. And fucking like a lot of us know this now, but when it came out back in the day, this was fairly new advice. A lot of us now, like if you've watched me for a while, a lot of us kind of know the mindset in here that you've got to become more of a strong man and the world is getting weak, but like strong men are still needed. And the book's probably more important now than ever. The only difference is a lot of us actually know the lessons in here. So I've tried to reread it a few times, but I get pretty bored in it because it's like it doesn't really say anything you really need to hear anymore. Like if you're a pussy, then it really is great. If you're a pussy who, for example, like if you know a pussy, if you know a guy who's weak, gifting him this book would be good. But when you're already a strong man, it just felt like a bit of a weak read now where like I don't really need to like, there's nothing to recap. There's no like continuous lessons to recap from there. So I tried to reread it, but I didn't finish it the second time. Unscripted is a great book as well. This is by the same author, The Millionaire Fastlane. And this is just like the next level. Very long book, very interesting. Talks about how to build like a business that will make you successful. I don't think you need to, with the books he's made, it was more about convincing you to basically get into business, which really helped me a few years ago, like really, really helped me. But the reason why I probably wouldn't recommend much of his books anymore is because if you're watching this, you're already convinced that business is the way, right? So now MJ DeMarco books are the kind of ones that I'd give to like old people, like to my parents or something like that, to convince them that they need to get into like, like business is the only way. And also you've got to have like a scalable business. But for young people don't really need to read these kinds of books anymore because this is about like, okay, become an entrepreneur instead of getting into a 9-to-5. But basically every single young person actually knows that now. So it's a little bit, I wouldn't say outdated, but I'd probably say unnecessary now. No disrespect to the author because the books really fucking helped me back in the day when it was more like normal to go get a 9-to-5 job. The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, never liked this and never liked his other book as well. I don't like these books that are not clearly and specifically written. This and Going Pro are the other one. I don't know if I'm just a fucking retard, but I swear to God that like a lot of the popular books that people hype up, like this and Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, they hype them up and you read them and you're like, it doesn't even make sense. Like it's like I'm not putting in extra effort to try and digest what lessons the author's trying to make, and he's wrote it in such a vague way. Like fuck you, no. If he can't write it clearly what the lesson is, then I don't believe that like it can help me. Done. But because it's an interesting topic, and the other one about Going Pro and like Marcus Aurelius Meditations and stuff, because it's interesting, I think that people get a bit of like an ego boost of like, yeah, oh yeah, I read these books. Oh yeah, oh bro, you should read Meditations. But it's like when you actually read it, it's fucking so weak. Like the first 10 pages of Marcus of Meditations is like him just thanking his fucking family. It's just so like, it's so weak, so weak. People will tell you like read these books, which are written like really vaguely and with like shitty old English or something. And it doesn't even make sense for most of it. Maybe I'm just a fucking retard, honestly. That must be it, honestly, because the amount of people who hype up these books. But I read them and I'm like, the lesson is so weak, though. like so weak, and it's half of it just feels like fluff. This is honestly, I know this is going to sound crazy, but this is why I've not recapped The Way of the Superior Man in a while, because I hold this new belief, which is if a book is written in like a vague way, I don't give a shit about it anymore. If you can't specifically tell me what the lesson is and what the action step is, fuck you, I'm not wasting my time on it. That's my own opinion. I hyped up the Way of the Superior Man so much, and I got kind of like addicted to it, right? But if anything, that led me astray, because a book that is written vaguely, it just means that like you're going to interpret it to your own self and accredit your own life experiences to the book, which isn't fair. If the book can't talk to you in no nonsense, clear English what the lesson is, then in my opinion, it's not that valuable. The Charisma Myth is a great book as well. This is really nice. If you want to improve your social skills, this is a really good book about it. Really practical. I really liked, like, some points in this were so autistically practical, where she literally talks about, like, oh, if the sun is in your eyes when you're trying to speak to someone, it's okay to tell them, like, oh, excuse me, let me just stand over to the side. Or if, the chair you're in is uncomfortable. Because that's such specific autistic advice. And I love that, because half the time that someone, you feel awkward in like a social setting, it's because of something small, like you're just uncomfortable right now in the position you're stood in front of the door and people keep opening the door, or the sun's in your eyes, or you're a bit uncomfortable or whatever, or you just need to go to the bathroom quick. It's better, like, this book kind of gives you permission to basically tell people, like, oh, 1 second, bro, I've just got to go to the bathroom, but just wait here, I'll come speak to you again. And then it tells you about how to be charismatic, which is pretty cool. And The Magic of Thinking Big, this is one of the OG books. I still recap it. I just recapped this a few days ago on my Audible. This is like a book on how success. Yeah, this is a good title. How successful people think differently. These old school books, I really like them. Like the books from like the 1950s, 1960s, 70s on success. The authors here used to be real fucking men. I really appreciate like the advice of these types of old school guys, because what I've realized now, modern day success books are written in a very weak, limp-handed, like, a limp handshake, liberal kind of way, which is like, oh, don't be too ambitious. Some people just get lucky, just some fucking limp dick mindset like that. Any book about success that's been written in like the 1950s, 60s, 70s, it's written by a guy whose handshake would fucking crush your hand by accident. He's got fucking 4-digit testosterone. And, it actually teaches you, like, oh, you can achieve anything you want. There's someone who's achieved it, so you can too. I got a few books from the bookstore a few months ago on like success and thinking, and I was shocked. I was literally shocked, because they were like modern day books, right? 2010, 2015. I was shocked at how gay and liberal they all were. I was so shocked of how much it was like, oh, well, don't try so hard, because other people don't really get that successful. And, like the people who get successful, a lot of it's just down to luck. I was like, what the fuck is this? It's a book on success, and the guy's literally telling you, like, oh, just be more realistic. Like these old school books is like the old guys telling you, like, no, don't be realistic. So fucking set the big goal and achieve it anyway, because there's someone who's achieved it, and he's not smarter than you. He just fucking dreamt the goal, he put in the action, and he achieved it. We all need this old school success mindset, like this patriarchal mindset, which most modern books, this is what I mean about the books that like influencers, right? They're very like gay and liberal these days, but like the old school books, they're made by like stronger guys who literally like tell you, like, yeah, you can achieve your goals. If you're looking for the marketing online business niche, .com Secrets Trilogy by Russell Brunson. This is okay, but pretty outdated now. If you've watched like for example, if you're watching this video, I don't think you need to read these books anymore, because this explains it for sort of middle-aged mothers back 5-10 years ago, when people didn't really know like how business worked. If you're watching this now, you actually have a better understanding of business than even like the old people who have read all these kinds of books, right? So business, like the modern day business, is post content, have something to sell, link the thing that you're selling in your bio, sell it. Boom, that's it. All of us understand this, right? You're used to clicking on Instagram, seeing like some fitness influencer, he posts content, and then he has a link in his bio where you can buy something. You're used to seeing hoes who post content, and then they have a link in their bio where you can buy something. You're used to seeing this video where there's a video here, and the link underneath this video is the links to go buy my stuff. That's like literally all you need to know. This now is outdated and overcomplicated. This one here has a few chapters which are quite nice on psychology, so you could still go read them. But I'd say .com secrets and traffic secrets, I wouldn't read them anymore, just because it's like it'll just get confusing. You don't need to like learn about how sort of business worked 5-10 years ago. Don't be a fucking dork and go spend time learning that instead of actually fucking building the business. Expert secrets is still nice because of the few chapters on psychology. But honestly, like if you watch a bunch of content, you already know how to make money in the modern day. Post content, get an audience, link a paid product in the description, and tell people to click on the link. Like I can tell you right now, see the links underneath this video. The top link will be, or the only link will be to join this program we're all inside, where you get like courses, you get the community, you get like to join up with these boys here and everything. So you can join. Boom, that's it. Just by me saying that, I just made like a few $100s. Done. That's it. You don't need to like read these books anymore because these books just overcomplicate it. It's like the old school way. Books from Alex Hormozi. You know what? I'm going to be honest. I told you my definition of a good book, right? Which is that after I read it, my life gets better, or like the area of life that the book's teaching gets better, like the business one here. For me personally, the books from Alex Hormozi, my business has never gotten better from actually reading them and implementing them. Honestly, I think again, it's like this suits like if you're in like a bit of an old school business and you own like a fucking laundromat or something, it suits that. If you are doing like the newest modern day style businesses, which is way better for beginners, instead of making a fucking like buying a fucking restaurant or some shit, instead of doing that, you like start like an online internet business like I'm doing here. Okay, become like a YouTuber, content creator. Then these books, in my opinion, they actually weren't that helpful. When I used them, things got overcomplicated. And the beauty of the business model I'm doing right now is you don't have to be good at business. You, in fact, don't even want to spend almost any time at all thinking about the business side. You just want to spend all your time just serving your audience. And then when you have a product, people will buy it just because they like you. I think that's the better angle to go rather than focusing on the business, focusing on the money and almost putting like serving the audience to the side. Welcome to the community center. So for me personally, when I read these books and also when I watch Alex Hormozi's videos, my business doesn't really go up. If anything, I end up overthinking, changing too much. And my business often kind of goes down by watching like business videos. Not just him, but like almost every business influencer. I've noticed that when I start to take their advice, it becomes overcomplicated. When you are doing my business, which is a very heartfelt business, like you're building an audience of people who love you and then you're offering them some kind of paid product. You don't need to use all these business tactics. In fact, when you use them, you kind of look pretty fucking shady and like, like a scammer. You're doing too much, right? If you're like some invisible nobody who's owns like some fucking agency or some shit, okay, fine, go ahead and consider that. But for at least my business, like being an influencer, these books and his advice basically never really helped me. If anything, it made my business go down. So I'm very, very careful. Like I don't consume anything about business anymore because the business that I do is so different from normal businesses, because normal businesses, you just want to maximize money. You just want to maximize profit. If you try and maximize profit as an influencer, you end up fucking actually losing your audience, which ends up making you less profit overall. So the game is so different if you're like an educational content creator, so different. You can't go for maximum profits. You have to go for like maximum love. So these books, his advice, basically every business YouTuber's advice has always not only not served me value, but actually made my business worse. So now I don't watch like any sort of business person on YouTube anymore in terms of like actually taking the advice to implement myself. I now watch more like psychology things and speaking and more like this heartfelt kind of advice. Like social skills, for example. I'd rather learn how to speak better, and that will improve my YouTube channel more rather than watching like how to sort of extract more money from it and whatever. And even the Leads book, for example, Leads is like, okay, how to get like traffic, how to get like views. But even that didn't really help me because 90% of the book isn't about social media. It's about like paying for advert and doing these things and these things and these things. And what I found is, at least the business model I'm in, it's so fucking simple. Keep it simple. Stop adding in extra things to try and monetize an extra buck here and there, and just keep your heart in the right place. Launched by Jeff Walker. I've never seen this one. Might consider. Yeah, it looks cool. I think this is probably a bit more for beginners, how to start, but that's pretty cool though. Hooked by Nir Eyal. I didn't really like this one. He's a bit of a... read the book I suggested, Stolen Focus, and you'll realize he's a bit of a cunt, actually, this guy here, Nir Eyal. You'll realize why. But just read the other book instead. The Stolen Focus by Joanne Harry. Read that book. This book, in my opinion, it was a bit weak anyway. It was like interesting at first, and it was just a bit weak after that. And then when I read Stolen Focus, and the guy from Stolen Focus does an interview with this guy, and this guy's a fucking asshole, honestly. So, yeah. And Hook Point, I've not read this one. The Red Pill, forgot the author. I think he means The Rational Male, maybe. Reality Transurfing. I tried to read this one, but I didn't quite like it, though. Why have I got fucking Indonesian Google? Magic of Thinking. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. This was one of the first books I read, and it gave me a lesson that I really, really, really liked. And the lesson was to choose your suffering. If you're trying to debate between a few different decisions, like a few different pathways, like for example, right now you're trying to figure out what career or business to get into, which business model to do. It's so hard to choose it based on what you want, like the reward. If you think, okay, if you're comparing YouTube to being a entertainer, to being a, I don't know, animator, coder, to being an author, you know, like all these different businesses you could do, drop shipping, agency, whatever. And you think, okay, well, if I be a YouTuber, I'll get money and I'll get status. If I do drop shipping, I'll get money and status. If I do become a rapper, I'll get money and status. Basically, the reward for becoming successful in any business model is generally the same. It's money and fucking status. It's stupid to think about what you want in life. Like when you really think about it, when you're debating different paths, thinking about what you want, like the reward you want, is fucking stupid. Like thinking positively is fucking stupid in this case, because the positive outcome of any of the paths you're looking at are basically the same. It's money and status. So instead of looking at the rewards you get, which are just, you know, it's redundant. It's all the same. It's money and status if you become successful as a YouTuber, as a dropshipper, as an agency, whatever. Instead, think about the suffering you will go through. Think about the shit parts of the path in front of you. So imagine you're comparing and you're thinking, okay, I might be a YouTuber or I might be like a dropshipper. Both of them, if you become successful, you'll get money and status. It's basically the same reward. But now think about the suffering you'll have to go through to become successful. As a YouTuber, what's the suffering? Well, you'll get hate. You'll get hate comments. You'll get hate videos about you. You'll have to deal with people commenting and shit like that. You'll have to deal with having less privacy in life and people recognizing you. You'll be at the gym and someone will come up to you and say, oh, hey, are you Hamza? Oh, can I get a picture, bro? And you need to think, okay, that's part of the suffering. And you might be watching this thinking, oh, well, no, I'd like that, actually. The path you should take when you think about the suffering you'll go through, you'll often think like, wait, I'd kind of actually like that. And the path you shouldn't take when you think about the suffering you'll go through, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's actually stupid. I wouldn't want that. Like, for example, with dropshipping, the suffering you go through is like, it's a soulless business model. No one respects a fucking dropshipper. It's soulless. You're just selling to fucking stupid consumers in the West by giving them overpriced, shitty products from China. Your customers hate you because they've got a long delivery time. You're a shit stain on humanity. You're just a glorified middleman. You're not even like creatively coming up with the products yourself. You're just sniping a product quickly, making a shitty ad, and then running it and hopefully getting some margins in there. It's entirely soulless and purposeless. Now, there'll be some people who don't have hearts who will be watching this and thinking, oh, well, oh, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind like not having any purpose in my life as long as I can make money. Those people are fucking weird. Right, so for them, they've chose that suffering, go ahead. But the chances are, if you're watching me, you're more of like a purposeful young man. And you'll be thinking, oh yeah, you know, the suffering of like drop shipping or trading is that it's completely not purposeful. Like there's no soul inside of it. You're not helping anyone. Yeah, that's actually not what I'd want to live with. Even if I make money, that'd just be bullshit, because you can make money doing anything. And so then you can find the path that has the suffering that you'll be looking at thinking, you know what? That wouldn't be terrible. Like the suffering of YouTube. Okay, people make hate videos about you. Okay, congratulations. I'm the main character in their life. Okay, I'm used to that. Okay, people will write hate comments. Okay, block. Goodbye. Okay. And also your video sometimes can have like technical errors. Your camera can die. Okay, yeah, fuck it. I'll hop on ChatGPT and fix the problem, or I'll buy a new camera. And your privacy, you might be with your girl, and then some guy comes up and says, oh, hey, are you Hamza? Can I get a picture? Kind of like that, actually. That's the path for you. So this book has a bunch of lessons. There's such a lot I'm not giving a fuck, but one of them was like choosing your problems. You can't avoid problems. You just can choose which problems you want to go through. And when I read this, that's when I decided, of all the careers and businesses that were in front of me, the problems that came from YouTube were the ones that I was nodding my head thinking, you know what, they're the ones that I'll take. That was over 5 years ago, and I was absolutely fucking right. Welcome, Max. I was so fucking right. The problems that I've taken, the suffering that I've went through over the last few years, hate, getting views, not getting views, technical problems, insecurity, privacy, all these things, they are the problems that I'm willing to live with to do the work that I love. It's Tuesday, 7 a.m., and I'm still working even though I could have retired about a year ago. Because this work is still as enjoyable now as it was 5 years ago when I needed the money. I don't need the money anymore, but it's still fucking fun for me. So that's the power of reading books. You can get lessons like this that can really change the future. Like this one book that I've got highlighted here, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. This was the book that helped me to choose YouTube. Just because of one page in here where I learned the mindset to like choose your problem, choose your suffering. I hope that the books that I recommended and all of the others serve you as well as they've served me, because my life has utterly changed from reading and learning. I would not be here today if I didn't read as much as I did. And if you do want to read more sort of up-to-date discussions about self-improvement and relevant to like masculinity and stuff, well then, this is our social media platform. And you can come and join this. Top link in the description. Every day people come on, you make like a coffee, drink it in the morning, read some of the posts here, go to the classroom section where we have a bunch of educational courses that you can learn from. These are like this one I just made recently, and it's like over 10 hours long, I think, of like unreleased educational lessons on how to become a successful man, a high performer. And yeah, if you want to invest in your self-improvement journey, in your education, if you want to invest into becoming more successful, I think it's such a good place for you to go to. Top link in the description. No pressure. But if you did want to spend some money on your journey, this is what I'd recommend. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.